is here in Toulouse, and welcome back to this beautiful city just to the north of the Pyrenean Mountains. We've got 22 climbers taking part in this men's qualification lead today, looking for one of 6 slots to a place a little further east than this, Tokyo, 5,000 miles away, next August for the Olympic Games. That is the route they'll be competing on. We've already had the speed, we've already had the boulder, and now it is time for the lead. You can see the route sneaking up there, red volumes, black holds, 49 moves, excuse me, if you'd like to find the top. Let's have a look at the combined rankings as they stand after 2 disciplines so far. It's YuFei Pan who's leading the way. It's had a scarcely believable morning. 7th in the speed, he was pretty happy with that. 1st in the bouldering, could barely believe his eyes. Bassa Mawem, meanwhile, he did his part in the speed by winning there. 21st in the bouldering. The only person he finished ahead of was Alfie Muhammad, who's currently down there in 8th. And it gets a little tighter after that. Meichi Narasaki, Ondra, Nathaniel Coleman, Kakeru Fuji, Hojer. Really need big results on the lead wall. Remember, of course, that your ranking score is your ranking in each of the 3 disciplines multiplied by your ranking in the others. So YuFei Pan, as you can see, 7th in the speed, 1st in the boulder. 7 multiplied by 1 is 7 points, so obviously the lower the better. So that's how it stands right now. The exciting thing about this format is until the last climber has finished, nobody's guaranteed anything. And bearing in mind that Ondra, the reigning lead world champion, European champion and World Cup season champion in lead, will be out last. Absolutely no one is guaranteed their ranking and their points until the very last climber has finished their attempts here on the lead wall. 22 climbers taking part. We were expecting there to be 20 here in Toulouse, but a little bit of confusion about the qualification system meant that we ended up with a total of 22, and they put on quite a show so far today. This is how they'll start. The order remains the same in the qualification round of a combined competition all the way through. So it'll be Alexi Rubsov out first, then Yannick Kruder, Sean Bailey and Nathaniel Coleman. Both of them have been going really well. As far as the Olympic ticket is concerned, we're going to take the top 6 climbers from this competition here in Toulouse. Bearing in mind, of course, that only 2 climbers per country, per gender, can go to the Olympics. So if there are 2 climbers from your nation ahead of you, or 2 climbers from your nation already qualified, you will not be receiving an Olympic invite. So it may not end up being the top 6 climbers. We're also looking for 8 as well to progress to the final. The final for these men will take place on Saturday. Tomorrow we've got the women's qualifiers, and on Sunday we have the women's finals. So it's an action-packed and likely rather emotional 4 days here in Toulouse. Things have been pretty remarkable so far. Earlier on in the speed, realistically, it was always going to be a battle between Alfie Muhammad and Bassa Mawem. Excuse me. Bassa Mawem set a very quick time on his first run, better than Alfie Muhammad's. Then on the second runs, Alfie Muhammad went even quicker. Massive pressure on Bassa Mawem to take first place, and he managed to do it. He then finished ahead of Alfie Muhammad in the bouldering, 21st for Bassa and 22nd for Alfie Muhammad. And so Bassa Mawem sitting pretty happy in the standings. Anything other than 22nd here in lead, I suspect, would be quite a bonus for Bassa. Meanwhile, YuFei Pan had a fantastic day. 7th in the speed, 1st in the boulder. He is all but nailed on for his place in the final, and likely, once the 2 climber per country rule has been applied, almost certainly for a place in the Olympics. However, absolutely nothing guaranteed, and an awful lot to be decided here on the lead route. Quite remarkable that after so much competition just to qualify for this event, so much training ahead of it, it could all come down to 3 or 4 minutes on a lead wall for all of these climbers. All 22 climbers will take part on the wall. We'll have a cleaning break after the 11th, and as ever in lead climbing, it comes down to which handhold you reach. Total of 49. If you manage to match the 49th hold and clip the rope for the top quick draw, you will be awarded a top. First climbers to try their luck on the wall is Alexi Rubsov of Russia. Things have not gone according to plan for him so far today in Toulouse. But this is Alexi Rubsov. He fights until the end, and I'm sure he will do that on this lead route here. Les talons russes, ils se tordaient dans tous les sens. Et
lui, il va falloir l'encourager parce que ça va être peut-être un peu plus compliqué dans cette dernière épreuve. Alors on aime en difficulté mettre une musique relativement cool au début et moitié du mur quand ils arriveront vers le vieux campeur, on va accélérer.
So Alexi underway, still I think carrying at least the remnants of the bicep injury that he picked up in June in Slovenia. From my rather amateur understanding of medical definitions and injuries, he more or less tore his bicep away at the top from his shoulder, which I would imagine was rather painful and has certainly restricted him quite considerably over the summer. However, he did it just about enough to make it through here to Toulouse, and he takes his turn on the lead wall. Should be quite an interesting route that the setters have put on here. We're expecting no trick moves, nothing too out there, just a pretty straight up resistance route, hard moves, not too many big risks to be taken, just resistance, just keep on going. And up until this point, the route is said to be relatively, all things being relative of course, relatively straightforward. It really kicks on in this big traverse outright. Alexi 22nd in the speed, 15th in the boulder. Couldn't have gone any worse in the speed. Couldn't have gone much worse in the boulder for a man as accomplished as him. What can he do on the lead wall? He's going pretty well so far. For the first time we hear a vuvuzela echo around the arena. 49 holds on this route, and that's Alexi just past halfway actually, so going pretty well so far. Climbers have had observations, standard 6-minute observation. That was about half an hour ago. Looks like Alexi really beginning to fight here. He's in our camera shot somewhere. There he is. It's a really strong performance though from Alexi, who's known primarily as a boulderer. And he's going exceptionally well, Alexi Rubsov. Obviously far too early to make any predictions about where this might leave him, but almost 3 minutes elapsed. Got a fight on his hands here, particularly through this steep section. It is staggeringly steep as well, actually goes completely horizontal for a while. One of the crux moves coming up, going up to that dual texture black pocket that you can see just above the lip where the horizontal section of the wall ends. This is the hard move I was talking about. He got an awkward clip and then a really powerful cross through, but Alexi Rubsov absolutely crushing it so far. Didn't look too tricky at all. Just needs to get himself locked off on the right arm, go up with the left and then bump against the pocket. Well, for a man who's not had a great day here in the south of France, things have just gone an awful lot better for Alexi Rubsov. Crowd getting behind him now. He's an absolute legend of the game and a warrior on the wall. How much further can he fight? No doubt he's getting pretty pumped now, Alexi Rubsov, up to hole 44. There's only 5 more to go before the top. But that will be a 44 for Alexi Rubsov, and that is an excellent score from a man who's still carrying an injury and is unlikely to have done enough to make it through to the final. Was, you would imagine, climbing for little more than pride. A strong performance from him. I suspect the route setters might be a bit nervous watching that one. Perhaps slightly undercooked if Alexi's getting that far when he's not fully fit. There's an awful long way to go. Yannick Kruder out next to try his luck. Alexi was 19th in the overall standings. Coming on to that with a total of my maths is deserted. I was about to say his total number of points. 330 points, excuse me. Finally it flashes up on my 330 ranking points. So Yannick Kruder next, and it'll be Sean Bailey and Nathaniel Coleman shortly after that. 6 minutes as per a lead World Cup here for the climbers.
Next competitor representing Slovenia is 14th position after the bouldering competition. Please welcome Yannick Kruder. Et il a l'air détendu, Yannick. Le petit clin d'œil tout à l'heure qui va bien. Celui qui peut arriver à faire très mal, c'est... Il y a Neuer là-dedans, un petit peu aller chercher. C'est des bloqueurs qui peuvent aller quand même assez loin. Ils sont résistants.
So Yannick Kruder was 17th in the speed, ended up 7th in the boulder. So he's very much in that category of climber that there's an awful lot riding on this. Hard to tell exactly what the cut-off will be for qualification for the final. But a good result in boulder, not a great one, and a pretty poor result in speed means that Yannick needs to find something pretty massive here on the lead wall. Oh, and a very low fall from Yannick because the hold actually came off the wall. I'm trying to think if I've ever seen that before, and obviously the officials flood onto the stage. Well, that caught me by surprise. I can't imagine what it was like for Yannick. I think he's okay. Yeah, the official just check, he's smiling. Yeah, the hold came clean off the wall. That is not something you see every day. Yannick can see the funny side of it. So can the Beeler. I suspect one or two people can't quite see the funny side of it. Let's have another look. It was that one. Wow, it was good reactions from Yannick Kruder. He pulled it off, and the first thing he did was cover his head because he knew there was about to be a volume flying down. I'm struggling to think if I've ever seen that. We've seen holds move, we've seen holds spinning, and climbers complaining that holds are loose, but I can't think if I've ever seen one just literally come clean off the wall. The route setters, of course, now have to decide whether they can just bolt it back on, or it doesn't look like they're going to replace the volume with a new one. Because, I mean, again, I'd assume some structural damage was done to the volume as he pulled it off. Yeah, there is the structural damage, is one way of putting it, torn apart. I mean, you can see that it looks like there was that screw and 4 others holding it in place. Surprised to see it snap, but that is what appears to have happened. Worst case scenario, I suspect, is that they need a new volume, in which case I really hope they have a new one. So one of our route setting team heading back up, as I say, I assume to reinstall the volume. I can't help think there must be some fairly significant damage to the volume itself. But they appear to just be putting back on the exact same one. Yeah, there it is, in the same place. They surely have to take, just for the risk of cutting someone's hand open, surely have to take the damaged part, or pull off some of the damaged part, or just fire another screw through it. Let's have another look. Yeah, as I say, it's good reactions from Yannick. There was a volume coming his way, and he understandably got his head out the way. As it is, it missed him entirely. If you own a hardware shop somewhere near Tournefeuille, you are probably about to clean up, because I think the route setters are going to fire enough screws into this to hold the entire wall up. So a bit of aesthetic damage to the volume. Don't suppose it matters too much on that part. There's no way a climber's going to grab that part.
Alors merci, ça me permet de redire merci à tous les partenaires, l'IFSC, il y a Earth, il y a Japan Airlines.
Well, the volume's clearly taken a bit of a hit, but it's being fired back on.
L'équipe, la chaîne, on retrouve l'Agence nationale du sport, le ministère des sports évidemment, la région Occitanie, on a département Haute-Garonne et la ville de Tournefeuille. Je pense que monsieur le maire, je ne sais pas si oui, il est là. On est quand même, monsieur le maire, non mais entre les championnats de France du combiné et le TQO, hein, fier de votre ville quand même.
Right, well, as the wall gets reassembled, let's have a look at the combined rankings as they stand right now. Yeah, YuFei Pan leading the way. If it was to finish this way, it'd be YuFei Pan, Bassa Mawem, Meichi Narasaki, Adam, Ondra, Nathaniel Coleman, Kakeru Fuji, Hojer and Alfie Muhammad in the top 8. And I've just got an official come over to give me a little bit more information.
C'est vrai que c'est bien de le dire, ça c'est bien que ça nous arrive en qualif. Bon, merci les ouvreurs, hein, et, bravo pour le travail que vous avez réalisé, qui est parfait pour le moment. Vous pouvez bien imaginer que Yarnay il va avoir un rerun. On attendra pour savoir quand est-ce qu'il repartira. Je pense pas qu'il va repartir tout de suite.
So one of our officials has just headed over and told me that Yannick will now have a rest of 11 minutes because it's hole number 11 apparently. So we will have a short break. So go and put the kettle on, get a beer out the fridge, a beverage of your choices if you're watching us live here in Toulouse. And I will speak to you very shortly when Yannick Kruder comes back out for his second attempt at the lead.
Ils ont quand même Anze Peharc, on n'a pas trop de nouvelles d'Anze, elle était blessée en début de saison. C'était quand même une des meilleures grimpeuses de diff les 2 dernières saisons. Qui respire quand même. Alors voilà le règlement, hein, quand ça arrive comme ça, un problème technique, le grimpeur il a 1 minute de repos par prise. Donc là il a à peu près 11 prises, 11 minutes, donc on va envoyer le prochain. Ok, donc là il devrait attaquer dans 3 minutes parce que le temps de refaire et de remettre la prise, dans 3 minutes on va garder l'ordre et on accueillera le retour de Yannick Kruder. Bon et merci dans nos photographes, on a un des meilleurs photographes d'escalade là-haut, Eddie, one of the best photographers in climbing. Il est toujours là avec nous, il est là-haut, il fait des portraits de tous les grimpeurs tout au long de la saison. Franchement, c'est des passionnés ces gars-là. Et c'est bon de savoir qu'ils sont là. Et voilà, sur internet on nous dit incroyable de voir ce qui se passe. C'est du rarement vu hein, quand même. Hein. Allez, moins de 2 minutes. Just a little bit less than 2 minutes for the rear end. Allez, on l'applaudit encore une fois s'il vous plaît. Les mains pour Yannick. La chance qu'il a, c'est qu'il a quand même parcouru très peu de mouvements dans la voie parce qu'un rerun peut coûter très cher.
So Yannick Kruder is back out. He's done his best to rearrange the lead wall, but the route setters have undone all his hard work and put the volume back on. Apparently the volume's been repaired. You can see, even from here, actually, you certainly will if we get a close-up, that there's still some damage visible on it. If you are just tuning in, Charlie Bosco here, live from Toulouse. We're in the south of France for the Olympic selection event. Yannick Kruder, the second climber out on the lead route, and he pulled a volume clean off the other volume it's attached to, and it's the volume he's currently got his left hand on. You can see a bit of damage to the volume, presumably where it sheared away from the screw. But held in this time, and Yannick, having had a fixed rest period, that is his right after a technical incident like that, is underway again. It doesn't seem too phased, it seemed too phased at the time.
C'est l'endurance, de toute façon, ça va leur paraître très facile jusqu'au moment où ils vont être attrapés par l'endurance et où ils vont exploser complètement en quelques secondes.
Oh, feet cut loose for Yannick. Things have been looking a little bit powerful then. As I said, it's said to be a pretty classic endurance route here. Nothing too flashy, just a straight up battle. Alexi Rubsov went really well on it, and Yannick Kruder's looking pretty handy as well. Definitely tell he's getting a little bit pumped. Heading up to towards hole 33. So just to give you an idea, there's 49 holes in total, and 33 is the long baguette-shaped hold, which we saw just a second ago, just above the lip. There it is, that long, yeah, you can see the one I mean, the baguette shape. Come on, we're in France. That is hole 33, so that's not far off a third of the way. So Yannick heads out into this section that is absolutely horizontal, and he's got that powerful cross-through move to the deep pocket. 44, the score of Alexi Rubsov. That's the move I'm talking about. So much riding in this for Yannick Kruder. He's going to have an excruciating couple of hours just waiting for everyone to finish to see what his rank is. All he can do right now is fight with everything he's got, and he's going to come up a little short of Alexi Rubsov by my maths. By my observation, excuse me, that'll be a 40 plus for Yannick. Unties, takes a final look back up at the route. This is where we lost him. It's a big move up from hold 40, and he got a good hand on 41, but he definitely didn't control it. So 40 plus for Yannick Kruder. Sean Bailey climbing next. The American, no American men yet qualified for the Olympics. So there are potentially 2 slots available for the Americans. Could be a good day for both of the Americans competing here. Sean Bailey and Nathaniel Coleman, they've both had good days, particularly Nathaniel Coleman, 5th in boulder and 6th in speed. Sean Bailey 19th in speed, although he went well by his standards. It wasn't enough for any better than 19th, and then 6th in the boulder, so both having good days. Yannick just explaining that no, nothing did hit him. Sean Bailey out next.
Ils ont bien posé en bloc.
Et si Sean fait un bon run, c'est quand même en place, c'est possible.
So 6 minutes begins for Sean Bailey.
Allez, lui, ça va, comme le dit Nico, ça va vous donner une idée, à mon avis. Alors, bon, il y a toujours. C'est jamais une discipline sûre, mais il va nous donner un aperçu de ce qu'il va falloir faire aujourd'hui. Allez, c'est commode, allez, lâchez pas, hein, pour la beauté du spectacle.
And that's the volume that was broken. You get a good look at the damage there. I don't see how that would cause any problems. It's basically one part of the volume that's more or less impossible to use because it's tucked in underneath that other volume. But yeah, the visage very much, the damage, excuse me, very much visible.
C'est certain que ça les a tous fatigués, mais les grimpeurs de Nice ont quand même plus de capacité à récupérer rapidement. Donc je pense que ça les met moins en difficulté en fait que les bloqueurs.
Coach. Alors l'entraîneur, hein, l'entraîneur national, c'est Josh. Voilà, on a aussi Romy qui s'occupe un petit peu de quelques filles. Allez jeunes, allez encouragez-le, hein, vous allez
Sean Bailey competing in what generally considered his strongest discipline of lead. Needs a big result here.
Mais pour l'instant, voilà, on voit par rapport au bloqueur, hein, lui, on sent qu'il a quand même une grosse marge de rési encore en lui. Allez.
Climbing pretty quickly here, Sean Bailey. Just over 2 minutes elapsed already. Finds himself in pretty much 2/3 height on the route. Controlled the swing nicely.
Donc il va falloir aller chercher une place dans les 3 ou 4 premiers pour espérer.
C'est ça, il faut viser la 4e place pour avoir 4 x 13 pour lui. Il était quand même, Sean Bailey tout à l'heure, il sortait en vitesse.
19th in speed, 6th in boulder. Really, Sean Bailey would hope to be ahead of Alexi and Yannick, both of whom are more boulderers than lead climbers. Going to need a pretty low score, something in the single figures, I would imagine, if he wants to have a look at the final on Saturday. Really struggling with the clip on that sort of terrain. That's the last thing you need. Clip was just hanging in his lap. Looking tired here, Sean Bailey. He'll look an awful lot more tired after that mistake. Feet cut loose just when he didn't want them to. Needs to just regather his composure. He appears to have done it pretty quickly. Now crosses through to the big pocket. This is the move coming up from here where we lost Yannick Kruder. Getting some pretty vocal support, gets that move done. Remember, it's 44 is the score of Alexi Rubsov that Sean Bailey is hunting down. 44 is the middle black hole on this next volume. That's 43. 45 there, basically skipped straight through it, Sean Bailey. He's out to 46, the feet cut loose again. Second time that's happened for Sean Bailey. Just trying to get himself in a position to clip the quick draw. Remember, he's got to clip every quick draw in order. Tough move out to the right, and he just misses it. But Sean Bailey will go into first place after 3 climbers, with his compatriot Nathaniel Coleman still to come. Tough for the competitors. You can see Sean Bailey there, he's not really offering much reaction. It's just nothing he can do at this stage. He's got to sit and watch everyone else and see what your ranking ends up as, and that's not an easy situation. So 3 climbers down, 19 still to go. Remember, 22 taking part here.
Non, beaucoup plus bloqueur. Mais après, quelque part, lui, il a déjà fait le job. Et à mon avis, il prendra sa qualif, quel que soit le résultat de la difficulté.
Parce que pour eux, c'est important, parce que pour le moment, il y a aucun...
Nathaniel Coleman will be out next. And after such an amazing morning where he's second in the speed, amazing early afternoon in the boulder where he was 5th. He doesn't need to have an incredible result here on the lead wall. Anywhere in the top half could well be enough.
Il est grand, mais on voit aussi que c'est une belle armoire à glace. Le problème, c'est qu'en bif, tu portes tes muscles.
Ouais, c'est ça. Et on a vu que les autonomies finalement sont quand même bien montées, donc il faut arriver à avoir un bon rythme, grimper très vite avant que la fatigue ne rattrape.
Allez, puis regardez bien leur manière de grimper, parce qu'on arrive à retrouver les écoles, l'école américaine, l'école japonaise, vous verrez tout à l'heure, les Français. On n'a pas de grimpeur de diff, mais c'est Manuel Cornu, champion de France de diff. Il a fait le hold-up.
Oui, tout à fait.
Allez, c'est comment?
Actually didn't get the rope properly in the quick draw. There we go, it's right in front of his face and he has corrected it. It can be quite dangerous actually if the rope's caught in the gate and then the rope gets loaded, but he's already corrected it.
Eux, il faut les applaudir rapidement parce qu'un bloqueur, surtout les grimpeurs de diff, il va falloir leur donner la force.
Nathaniel Coleman, the 4th climber out, 4th of 22. Remember, these climbers are gunning for 8 spots in the final, which take place on Saturday, but really more importantly, they're looking for 6 slots in the Olympics. There's a volume that Yannick Kruder removed. Firmly back on now.
Et il va aller vite, il va faire tout ça assez rapidement. Allez Nathaniel. C'est bien ouvert quand même d'avoir fait une voie qui peut prétendre un peu composer au grand.
Cutting loose, that's one of the few risky moves on the route actually, that pop out to the right screw on hold on the final red triangular volume. Yeah, there aren't many risky moves at all. It's a pretty straight up lead route, endurance based.
Allez, vous avez vu, il prend des risques quand même, c'est assez rapide. Et on voit sur les connexions internet, on arrive à 7000 là bientôt. 10 000, ça a été le pic tout à l'heure. Allez, respirer, prendre le temps. Les gros spécialistes ne prendront pas trop de break dans cette première partie de voie. Et quand vous les voyez s'arrêter, c'est déjà qu'ils en ont besoin. Come on!
Definitely looking tired, a little more tired than the other climbers at this stage, Nathaniel Coleman. He's still going strong. It's pretty burly, this traverse. Just from my angle in the commentary box, which is pretty much that one. Got to look at his face. He's breathing hard, definitely grimacing a bit. But he's still not jerking for these moves too much. He's still able to move in something like control. The pump definitely beginning to kick in. Gets a knee bar that will just alleviate the pressure ever so slightly. Takes a quick look down at the clock. I think he's pretty happy with what he sees. He's well past halfway. It's only just now that his time clicked to halfway, 6 minutes of course to do the route. From what we've seen, I don't think anyone will be troubling the timekeepers too much. I think everyone is going to either top the route or fall within 6 minutes. From what we've seen. So he's out to where things get really steep. Nathaniel Coleman having to throw for these loose a little bit more, and a bit like Sean Bailey before him. The feet cut loose, probably when you want them to least. He's feeling every bit of that move. Out to the pocket. And again, a bit again like Sean Bailey, the last thing you want is that fiddly clip. And a bit like lower on as well, lower down, the rope is not correctly in that quick draw. The gate is being held open by the rope. Here goes Nathaniel Coleman. He knows it's happened. There he goes and corrects it. He did a couple of moves while the rope was sitting in the gate of the carabiner on the quick draw. And he'd been fighting for a minute or so before that, Nathaniel Coleman. But I think that will be a 40 plus for him. Same score as Yannick Flohe. We'll wait to see. This is him on the jump lower down.
Le prochain, Anze Peharc. Pareil, on reste. De toute façon, on a dit il y avait 7 ou 8 bloqueurs, donc ils ont pris l'avantage.
41 plus, excuse me, for Nathaniel Coleman. So as now, that's how it stands. But of course, Nathaniel Coleman's rank is almost certain to change, and YuFei Pan is almost certain to change as well, because he's currently in joint 5th. But Nathaniel Coleman, 41 plus, as I say, moves him ahead of Yannick Kruder. And a bit like Yannick, all he can do now is sit and watch and hope.
Ginés López, Alberto, évidemment. Ensuite, Stefano Ghisolfi. Voilà, c'est ça. Et puis qui était, c'est eux les spécialistes. Donc ça fait 7 spécialistes du bloc, 6 spécialistes de la GIF. On l'applaudit. Attention,
Anze Peharc now of Slovenia. 20th in the speed and then 17th in the boulder. It's not been a great day for Anze. Can he make amends here on the lead wall? He will need the performance of a lifetime. He's going to do enough to make it through to the final here. I mentioned during the boulder live stream, he's got the right idea, Anze. He just was talking to him earlier, and he just said, well, if I leave satisfied with how I did in each discipline, then the results will be what they are. And the right way to think about it. But it's objectively been a disappointing day for him. As I say, the great thing about this combined format is that it's not done until it's done. He's a scrapper, and he will fight for every move, and he will not give up until his arms will give him no more.
Franchement, là il il va vite, mais pour l'instant c'est succès. Hein. Aucune erreur, double clipage. Allez, on applaudit Anze Peharc, please.
Manages to get 2 clips almost for the price of 1 there. Anze.
Ouais, là, à partir de là, c'est bien difficile pour les avant-bras.
On va voir un petit peu. Voilà, ça il faut vite replaquer rapidement pour éviter de perdre trop d'énergie.
Getting stuck into the traverse now.
C'est juste parti.
Just missed a couple of boulders in the boulder early on today. Ended up shunting him well down the order. Suspect might feel that he could have done slightly better on the boulder wall, but things going to plan so far on the lead wall. Climbing exceptionally quickly as well. Less than 2 minutes elapsed as he hits the horizontal section.
De tous les langues Yannick Flohe, hein, vu que c'est la légende et la grande star, ça a bénéficié à toute l'équipe slovène. Bloc, diff, vitesse, il n'y en a pas trop encore. Et lui aussi, là, il respire, mais il va pas devoir, à mon avis, il va pas y rester trop longtemps. Parce que lui, sa jauge, là, elle va descendre.
Taking a long break here, Anze.
Voilà, ça repart déjà.
Now he goes up. That's hole 33, that distinctive baguette shape.
Qui retourne.
Chooses actually just to chalk up once more before getting going.
Il a mis un petit coup d'observation supplémentaire, ça c'est aussi pour bien être sûr de ne pas se faire piéger. Et des fois il peut y avoir des prises qu'on ne voit pas. Et Mia Lushka, comment? C'est Haile. Voilà, ça c'est les bloqueurs.
Launches out to the left.
Voilà, il privilégie la vitesse et vu que pour l'instant il fait pas d'erreur, c'est très efficace.
Bon, le public, on sait que c'est là que ça va commencer à
Picked up his first and only World Cup podium earlier on this year. That was in boulder. What can he do in the lead? You can see how tired he's getting, Anze, but he's fighting with everything he's got here. And just misses that move up to 41. So that's going to be a 40 plus for Anze. Same score as his compatriot Yannick Kruder. Just trying to read his body language. I think he's saying there's not much more I could have done there. Nice soft catch from the B layer. And as I say, not much more Anze could have done. That was Alexi Rubsov. One move, so a few moves higher. This was Anze.
Mais dès qu'il va se retourner, on va lui faire une ovation, messieurs, dames, parce qu'il le mérite. Belle journée du grimpeur slovène. Donc, alors, le prochain, il est 20e.
That's how it stands right now. Sean Bailey currently sitting in first place. I mean, remember, for Sean Bailey, whilst he might suspect that somebody might catch him past his high point, every climber that doesn't means that his ranking is guaranteed to be slightly better. And it's all about ranking in a combined competition like this. Your ranking in each discipline, so what everybody else does really does directly affect you. Talking of people that might take that high point away, Stefano Ghisolfi, he's not quite looked himself here in the IFSC competitions of 2019. The last couple of seasons, 17 and 18, he was second overall in the World Cups for lead. In 2019, he's not quite been there. But if he's got his timing right, his training has been absolutely perfectly planned, then he will peak here today, right here on the lead wall. Winner of 5 lead World Cups. Hasn't won any this season, but he finally made his way back onto the podium in Inzai in Japan a month or so ago. So perhaps he has hit peak form just when it matters most. He'll need to. 21st in the speed and then 16th in the boulder, so he needs a very low ranking number next to his name after the lead.
Donc les grimpeurs de vitesse auront leur épingle à jouer pendant les JO. Pas les grimpeurs, voire il y en aura peut-être 2 sur le départ. Il y en aura 2. Il y en aura au moins 2. Voilà. Un du TQO et un des championnats du monde.
Tout à fait.
Donc c'est Ghisolfi côté championnat du monde. Alors Stefano, voilà, lui c'est dans ses voies.
So he's done the slightly risky dynamic moves, seemingly with ease. Got bags of endurance, Stefano. You can see him just glancing around. Not a care in the world.
Il prend le timer parce que lui va la jouer intelligence pure sur cette manière de monter. Regardez là. Lui, on va comprendre la décontraction.
Now we'll launch into the traverse, climbing much slower than some of the climbers we've seen, some of whom are at the horizontal roof by this stage. 2 minutes elapsed. It's one of the luxuries of being quite as good a lead climber as Stefano is. You can hang on all day.
Il y a 2 ans, il était blessé au niveau des épaules. L'année dernière, franchement, retour, et même blessé, il était dangereux. Il a une puissance mentale, Stefano Ghisolfi, qui est impressionnante.
Oui, il est vraiment réputé pour être un des tout meilleurs grimpeurs du monde en falaise.
Regarde Ondra.
Untroubled as yet, Stefano Ghisolfi. As I say, climbing significantly slower than some people, putting his endurance to good use, making sure that every move is secure and done efficiently.
Évidemment, et Jacob, c'est les 5 monstres de la falaise. Allez Stefano! Allez
Stefano commits out left, clever little use of that toe hook. And you can see just from the way he's moving, so much less tense and less tired than some of the bouldering specialists who've been here so far. Things really kick in here though. He's looking for a 46 plus to catch and pass Sean Bailey. That's going up for that last black volume with the red hole on top. That's hold 47 and 48 when you match it. So that was the move where Sean Bailey fell. Stefano Ghisolfi getting himself in position. Latches it, Stefano Ghisolfi. Gets hold 47, gets 48, gets 49 and gets the top. That is exactly what he needed, and there could be a spot at the Olympics riding on that. He lowers down and now we'll have an unbearable hour and a half watching everybody else come out and seeing whether all his dreams are going to come true here in Toulouse. There's nothing more he can do. He's topped the route. Have to say, never really looked troubled by it. It was only this move that looked like it might stop him. Let's have another look. Oh, he was so accurate. I think as soon as that left hand landed, he knew he'd done it. He was celebrating already. Obviously wasn't too nervous about the top move. He's found the top. He'll move into first place, and we'll just have to sit and watch. Hard to know what you do in that situation. I bet Stefano Ghisolfi's tempted just to disappear and come back in an hour's time. Surely he'll just sit and watch. He'll have a little minute to calm down. Alfie Muhammad is climbing next, and I think it's pretty unlikely to find a top himself. He's very much a speed climber. Did manage to find one zone during the bouldering. But the reality is for Alfie Muhammad that anything other than 22nd, if he could beat Bassa Mawem, realistically I think anything 21st or better would be a good result for him on the lead wall.
Et lui, en plus de toute la puissance de la voix qu'il va devoir trouver, c'est même au niveau de la méthode et du déchiffrage que ça va être un peu compliqué pour lui.
Oui, je pense que voilà. Déjà, pour les bloqueurs, c'est difficile parce qu'ils n'ont pas l'endurance, mais...
Et puis, il est tout seul dans son pays. Donc, pour déchiffrer, si les autres copains l'aident pas...
Oui, c'est sûr. Et puis surtout, je pense qu'il pratique très très peu cette discipline, donc ce sera dur pour lui là.
Et si vous voulez l'encourager, on peut le faire avec tout le monde, c'est ayo, ayo, ayo à la finale. And I want to hear Ariès, c'est ayo. Regardez, tu vois, il est déjà les mains là, il sait pas trop. Alors merci quand même aux ouvrants d'avoir fait une voix qui... on va voir ce que c'est le premier de la vitesse. Hein. Alors jusqu'où il est capable, là c'est carrément, on n'est plus du tout dans les mêmes filières, on n'est plus dans les mêmes filières sportives.
Non, c'est pas du tout la même chose, donc voilà.
Le public, aïe, allez.
Il va se faire une bataille à distance avec Bassa Mawem.
Going pretty well actually here, Alfie Muhammad. This is a tricky move out and up and to the right though.
Quoi qu'il en soit, son sourire, il sera au rendez-vous. Allez, là c'est dur, et puis quand tu restes comme ça du temps, bah...
Here he goes. Oh, manages to hold on to it. He didn't even hit the good bit of the hold either. You can see he's far too far to the left. This is a really strong performance from Alfie Muhammad. However, this is where the route really begins to kick in. And he got the risky move done and then couldn't quite find a way through the next one.
On entendra encore parler de ce jeune dans la vitesse. Et juste bravo, and just congratulations for Indonesia to be here on this qualification, and good luck for Ariès tomorrow on the women qualification. Bon, vous inquiétez pas, j'ai un anglais bizarre, mais ils comprennent bizarrement, donc on va pas se...
Alfie Muhammad unties, who's second in the speed climbing and 22nd in the boulder. Let's see where he ends up in the lead. I would imagine, without wishing to give anyone a hard time, but I would imagine it's between him and Bassa Mawem for 22nd and 21st in the lead. But as Yannick Kruder has already demonstrated by pulling a volume off the wall, just about anything can happen. Yannick Flohe will be out next. Here he comes with Bassa Mawem after him. Then it's Keita Dohi and then Alberto Ginés López.
Yannick 15e plus 20e, voilà, ça fait des multiplicateurs qui sont déjà trop violents. C'est un bloqueur.
Oui, c'est 15e fois 20e même. Donc, du coup, ça fait beaucoup de points. Et c'est plutôt un spécialiste de bloc.
Mais dans leur pays, l'Allemagne, ils auront un prétendant à la médaille olympique.
Oh, and Yannick Flohe's foot slipped at a key moment. Talk about someone who's just had the day slip away from him. 15th in the speed and then 20th in the boulder. Just, what are we, 3 months on from when he picked up a World Championship medal in boulder. So today has not gone well at all for Yannick Flohe.
Bon, ils ont un très bon entraîneur, hein, Urs Stocker, qui est présent avec nous, qui a fait des boulots en bloc. On sait que c'est une nation qui est très forte. On pense aussi chez eux, il y a le super Sébastien Alencu, la crête rouge, qui a un peu de mal en ce moment, mais qui était un des très bons grimpeurs de diff allemand. Et lui aussi, on sent qu'il va aller vite. Hein. Si vous voulez l'encourager, lui, à ce double flip là, bien joué, il faut quand même être à gabarit avec une bonne allonge. Hein.
Allez, là il est bien parti.
Bon, allez-y, boostez-le un petit peu s'il vous plaît, parce que c'est maintenant. Hein. Là on le voit.
Crowd getting right behind him, as well they might. We talked about how Stefano Ghisolfi was climbing at a nice steady pace, anything but from Yannick Flohe. 4:20 still left on the clock, and he's into the roof. He's barely paused. We've seen a lot of climbers break down where he's got his feet, and when they're using those holds as handholds, they're taking a long break. Yannick Flohe, no such concerns, just wants to get on with things.
7,57 en vitesse, il nous fait tout à l'heure Yannick Flohe. Et donnez de la voix, ça va vous chauffer parce qu'après on aura Bassa. Allez, on tape les mains pour Yannick. Yes, sure, Yannick, yes, sure.
Here he goes, Yannick Flohe. Needs a massive performance to stand even the slimmest of chances of making the final here in Toulouse. And this is doing him no harm at all. That's him up to 42. That's 43, 44 beckons, there it is, and 45 above. Needs to get the clip done. I think suddenly sort of interrupted his climbing flow and thought, oh, I better get something clipped here. Oh, and he was just going out towards 46. It'll be 45 plus for Yannick Flohe. That's a pretty handy score, you know. That's going to put him into third place right now. I think he knew the game was up, didn't even attempt to clip the quick draw in front of his face. So let's see where it leaves him. We said it in commentary in the boulder part of the qualification. The day is just sort of drifted away from him. 15th in the speed, not the end of the world, but then 20th in the boulder, just not at all what he wanted. And you can see there 6th and 7th, the two Slovenians, Jerne and Anze, tied on score at this stage of the competition. It comes down to time. That's why they're separated. It's why they're not joint 6th. It's why they are 6th and 7th. So wait for the cheer here, wait for the Vuvu sailors, wait for the drums. Here is Bassa Mawem. He has all but booked his place in the final simply by winning the speed, and then just as almost as an added bonus, not being last in the boulder. If he can beat Alfie Muhammad's score here of 19 in the lead, I think he'd probably just take that. That would give him a pretty handy score. Bassa getting plenty of encouragement from the local crowd. Route considered to be relatively steady through these red triangles. It doesn't mean it's easy at all though. That's him up to the Kruder hold. And I think quite rightly taking the approach of just climbing as quickly as he possibly can. And he holds on to the swing, Bassa Mawem, using all that power. Oh, this is great stuff from Bassa Mawem. Going to be comfortably clear of Alfie Muhammad. See, he's definitely getting pumped now, but that's him out to hole 22 already. Oh, fantastic stuff. 23 from Bassa Mawem. Realistically for him, this is dreamland. That's him at halfway up the route, 25. There's only 49 on the whole route. Here we'll end up with a 25 plus. That means Bassa Mawem is going to end up 21st. That means the worst he can get is 441 ranking points. And if that is not enough for a place in the top 8, I would be absolutely staggered. What a story it would be for climbing for France if it was the Mawem brothers representing their country in Tokyo next year. And Bassa Mawem has been absolutely superb today. He was put under enormous pressure in the speed climbing. He had to go pretty close to a personal best in order to win there after Alfie Muhammad flew up in 5.7. Then on the boulders, he managed to flash one of the zones. That was enough for 21st. And he's guaranteed at worst 21st here on the lead wall. Very, very strong day from Bassa Mawem. And depending on how things go, by the time he leaves this arena this afternoon, he may know that he's going to receive an invite to the Olympic Games. Keita Dohi out now. Remember, Japan have already filled their Olympic quota. They've got 2 men and 2 women qualified, but they have the right to compete in Toulouse, and so they are doing.
Alors c'est lui qui a eu la médaille, la première médaille olympique en or de l'histoire. C'est lui qui a remporté les JOJ à Buenos Aires. Il est jeune, c'était il y a 2 ans.
Quick bow to the crowd, Keita Dohi, and to the Belair. They're a polite bunch of Japanese climbers. Already been out there twice this year with the IFSC. We had the World Championships at Extravaganza in August for almost 2 weeks. And then another lead World Cup there. The final lead World Cup of the season took place 1 month ago in Inzai, just to the north of Tokyo. So it's a country known well to almost all the IFSC athletes and a popular stop on tour. And they don't half churn out a few good climbers as well.
Et la première médaille quand même, lui, il l'a chez lui. On pense à Samabezu, il y avait 2 Japonais sur les JOJ, premier et deuxième, le français troisième.
Et quatrième, YuFei Pan, le chinois qui est en tête pour l'instant.
Et chez les filles en Verstaden, c'est une autrichienne qui prend la médaille et après il y a les japonaises.
Oui, c'est ça.
Allez, gamba, gamba, gamba. C'est le premier des 4. Lui, c'est plus tibétois.
Keita Dohi, no problems so far. Things have been going pretty well for him today. 4th in the speed, 12th in the boulder. Pretty handy set of results. Rather like Stefano Ghisolfi, climbing pretty slowly. Doesn't need to rush. No one's been anywhere near needing to worry about time.
Et la grimpe est finalement très prisée au Japon.
Oui, beaucoup de salles, beaucoup de grimpeurs, beaucoup de grimpes aussi en outdoor.
Definitely looking like he's got a bit of a scrap on his hands here, Keita Dohi.
Un intermédiaire entre le bloqueur qui va vite et les grimpeurs de diff. Allez, c'est gamba. Et pour le moment, Keita Dohi, il se place pas mal du tout parce qu'il est 9e du provisoire en combiné, donc lui ça peut être le premier très dangereux.
Lui doit remonter une place pour rentrer dans cette finale.
Do with finding a rest at some stage if he could. 3:45 left on the clock. Just arrives at the horizontal section, head rocks back as if to suggest there's a lot of effort going into this. He's not had too many big results in the lead, just 2 lead World Cup semis in recent years. In the last couple of years, second, the best of those results, 17th in Chamonix a couple of years ago, 2018.
La Chine qui a beaucoup progressé, qui était absent complètement il y a encore quelques années et qui là peut avoir quand même beaucoup de représentants.
Here he goes up to hole 33. It's the first climb where you actually need to keep an eye on the clock. Fight his way out underneath the roof. He was 18th overall in the Boulder World Cups this year in 2019. Keita Dohi, as I say, we haven't seen him at the business end of many lead World Cups. And he's definitely been feeling the pump here, but he's done well just to keep on going, keep on moving. 2:28 now, he's definitely got time for more moves. Hasn't got the energy though. See that bouldering power coming in handy. Making the moves individually look relatively easy, but definitely getting pumped, doing them one on top of the other, and it was just as he slapped up towards holder 43 that we lost him, so I think that'll be a 42 plus. Pretty good effort from him, but as I say, he was beginning to look pretty tired relatively early on. I've just been joined in the commentary box, fresh down from the front of the wall, by Eddie, IFSC photographer. Eddie's nice looking route, this pretty classic endurance route.
It's very much a pumper. You're really just seeing that it's resistance based to really just a few moves at the top. There's a bit of a boulder crux on the head wall, and then definitely the jump that Stefano did is going to be the separator for the route.
What was your view like of Stefano going for that move? It looked like he was slightly nervous lining up for it, but he got it absolutely perfect from where we could see.
Yeah, unfortunately, where I was, he was jumping away from me. When he made the catch and swung, it was amazing, but I didn't see his face going into it. The one that got me, the terrifying one, was when Yene broke the volume, because I was actually right near that on the tower, and the bang was, oh, character building.
Well, I said at the time, as Alberto Ginés López makes his way out, I said at the time, he did well, because the first thing he did was get his head out of the way. Good thinking in the heat of the moment.
Absolutely. I spoke to him just then, and he said his biggest fear was the volume landing on him, but he ripped it straight past him. So here we go with Alberto.
Yeah, Alberto about to get underway. It's been a bit of a sensation this year in the lead.
Oh, he's been incredible, and not just lead, even he acquitted himself really well in the boulder round just then. It's been really impressive to see him come on. I actually don't know if you showed viewing, but he was working through the route with Adam. It was really interesting. I was shooting and I was really close to the dialogue where they're sharing beta. He's definitely got a strong ally.
Yeah, he really does. He speaks excellent English, Alberto Ginés López, and in observation, which sadly we didn't live stream, just to let you know at home, by the way. It was about half an hour before things got underway here. It definitely opens up a few more options. I feel like you see a few climbers that don't speak English and it limits who they can talk to in observation. If you've got access to Adam Ondra, it's a nice resource.
Absolutely. It can lead you down a false trail if you're listening to people saying the wrong thing, obviously, if people are reading the beta wrong. But the more people you can hear what they're saying and share ideas with, the more you can come up with what will work for you. And yeah, I do definitely think that you either want to speak English or you want a few of the people sharing a language with you doing the route. So for instance, some of the Japanese are not so strong in English, but with 4 of them here, they've got a lot of idea sharing going on.
Yeah, because he is, of course, the only Spaniard taking part here in Toulouse. I think a lot of neutrals will be pretty pleased to see him through.
Oh, absolutely. I think, as you said, he is a rising star, and to see someone like him come through the ranks really quickly, and it's been an interesting season because we've seen that a bit with the ladies. You had Cheon So, you had Mia Krampel really have a breakout year, Lucia Rajkovic taking out European lead, Ushka Rapusic taking out European boulder. So you really had a breakout of the young woman, but you didn't so much see anyone coming through the guys, and then Alberto just bang. Like, it was super impressive to see his progression. Yeah,
and he's had a good day here in Toulouse. I would say relatively unspectacular, just stayed under the radar, but 11th in speed, 11th in boulder. So it's a pretty good start. Combined points total as it stands of 1-2-1, and he is certainly strongest on the lead wall. So he's got a massive opportunity here, Alberto Ginés López. He's climbed really well so far, seems to have kept a nice cadence, measured his time well, got bags of time left, will barely need to glance at the clock from here on out.
Yeah, absolutely. I think someone like Alberto, there's still the risk of mistakes, so if he's not making mistakes, then he should be fine into the last boulder problem of the route, really. It just comes down to him getting all of this right, because right now the body's hurting, the fingers are past their optimum, and he's just got to get every move just right, and then he'll be fine.
Well, one thing there are no question marks over are his attitude. Talk about a scrapper. So he'll keep fighting now, Alberto Ginés López. He's up to hole 45. If he can even attempt this move, depending on time, he may move up into 3rd, possibly 4th. He's got it done anyway, so that's 46. This is probably the hardest move on the whole route, and if he can do it, he'll almost certainly top. Here he goes, lining it up. Alberto Ginés López hits it. Goes for the top. The last move is pretty straightforward. Time could be crucial, so he needs to get that clip done as soon as possible. The time stops now, and Alberto Ginés López with 2:19 left on the clock has found the 2nd top of the day. He was the 11th climber out. We're about to have a cleaning break. I think the crowd will be glad of a break. The vuvuzelas have been loud, the drums have been loud, and the shouting's been loud. I think everyone just needs to calm down for a second. We've just seen the 2nd top of the day. What a moment.
I mean, he just looks so assured. I think, obviously, my angle's a bit different here, but more assured than Stefano did on that move. Just bounced into it. Never really looked like it was going to be a hard move for him at all, and yeah, got the job done.
Quite extraordinary stuff from Alberto Ginés López. You can see him and Stefano talking to each other. And there we see it. They're currently joint first. They'll get separated when the judges have had a closer look, I'd imagine.
I'm sure they will. So just to clarify for me, and obviously for anyone that's joining the live stream, we're going to time as a separator here?
Yeah, the rule says in the event that 2 or more competitors are tied, the relative ranking of the tied competitors shall be determined by comparing their climbing times to the nearest second. Obviously, lower is better. And if they remain timed, then they'll watch the official video system and we'll try and resolve climbing time, even if it comes down to 1/10 of a second.
That'd be impressive, and we haven't actually got to a cleaning break. We've got Jongwon Chon on the wall right now.
Yeah, I was just expecting the cleaning break halfway through the field.
Likewise, that's why I came to visit. I figured we're coming up to a bit of a break and I'd have a natter. Luckily, I still do have an angle, so I can shoot the climbing as I talk. If you do hear some clicking in the background, it's me pulling double duty with a long lens.
If we could just pull men's boulder 1 out of the way, we'd have a great view of the way. You would never need to go anywhere. You could multitask all day.
Well, I tell you what, I was standing on top of men's boulder 1, not by climbing it obviously, and the view from up there is spectacular, but it is a little bit of an impedance for watching the climbing as a spectator. You're definitely seeing all the crowd rammed across on the right so that they have a clear view of the lead wall.
Yeah, it's true actually. Fortunately, there is a massive screen, but yeah, if you are in the venue and you're on the left-hand side looking at the wall, then you really can't see the bottom of the lead route. The climbers quickly emerge though. By the time they start the traverse out, they're pretty much in vision.
Absolutely. Curious to see how Jongwon Chon does here. He wasn't terribly happy with himself after speed or bouldering. He's definitely one who knows how important this is, really feeling the pressure, even though if it doesn't come together for him here, he's still got a really good chance in Asian Champs. He just wants to get the job done.
I think that's the case with all the climbers, isn't it? You can look down and think, oh, I'd have another chance, but it's nothing like just getting it done, getting the ticket booked. It's just done then, no matter how confident you are for the Asian Champs.
Absolutely, and it's going to make the championships really interesting, because some people, for instance, who have performed amazingly in Hachioji but maybe didn't just make the cut, are struggling here, and some people that will do well here but just not make the cut will have another chance. And so you're going to be watching, going into early next year through March, April, you're going to be watching these comps, and with only one spot per region, it's going to be emotional.
It certainly is. It's certainly potential for things to get rather emotional here in Toulouse, possibly within the next hour or so. We shall see. 3 minutes 35 left for Jongwon Chon. Again, a bit like Alberto Ginés López, rather kept himself under the radar, but then when you look at these results of 10th in the speed and 8th in the boulder, unspectacular, but 80 ranking points. It's pretty handy actually. Anything, I think a top 10 finish here would probably be enough for Jongwon, maybe.
I mean, top 10 is still going to put him on 800 points, and it may be on the line, but of course.
It looks like he might have misread this sequence slightly, Jongwon Chon. And I think a top 10 place could be out of the question now. He really misread that. He went up with the left hand and left himself with that really hard bump and then missed it.
Well, we've seen several people, Stefano for instance did go with a left hand there, but he completely skipped the first of the 2 holds over the lip and fired straight out to the second.
Yeah, so
Jongwon stopped himself, and then when he came up, his body just wasn't in a great position. His knees were coming up into the volume under the roof, and it just squashed his momentum, and he would definitely be devastated with that one.
That is a really disappointing result for Jongwon Chon. He walks off the stage. We know that we know him mainly as a boulderer, of course, but he's such a strong lead climber as well. He would have hoped for so much better.
I mean, someone in his position He's a superb all-round climber. He's done it all, but this season has been patchy for him at best, and he just needed really to get a strong comp in here, and he just flew just slightly below where he needed to be in Boulder, and I think that's going to hurt him into the home run. He did well in speed, but he was very frustrated with himself. He felt it could have been about half a second faster, and that would have been a huge difference.
I think I mean, these combined competitions are still a relatively new thing. We haven't had many of them, but one thing that's kind of becoming clear is if you've got a discipline that you're super strong at, and Jongwon Chon's a 2-time season champion in Boulder World Cups, you've got to absolutely knock it out of the park on your discipline.
Absolutely.
I mean, you look at speed climbers, you basically have to get a 1 next to your name.
Yeah.
And for someone like Chon, who's slightly more of an all-rounder, you've still got to absolutely smash one discipline.
Well, he's an all-rounder, but he is also an overall World Cup winner in Boulder. And it's definitely always been his strongest. It just hasn't happened. This young guy from Russia, Nikolai, I say right when he slips his foot, he's been super impressive just through the season in terms of consistency. He's that guy that flies under the radar a little bit, but he's good at everything, just maybe great at nothing. And I don't say that in a derogatory term. What I mean is he's not top 5 in the world in any discipline, but he's floating up around the top echelon in every discipline, which is
a nice position to be in.
I can think of worse places. Hanging on that volume is one of them.
5th for him in the speed, and then he was 14th in the boulder. I've been a bit disappointed with the boulder, but I suppose evened out by a fantastic result in the speed. So on a total of 70 right now.
Yeah,
one of those people that's kind of on the cusp.
Yeah, so just ahead of where Jongwon Chon was, but really does need at least, I'd say, to get into the mid-40s here. So get up around hold 44 or 45 to be safe, because there's still some really strong lead climbers coming out. I mean, obviously Adam Ondra no less, but it's really going to be, an interesting one. And of course you got Sascha Lehmann still to come, you got Bosi still to come, you got YuFei Pan, who don't forget has podiumed in a lead World Cup before to come. It's still really stacked into this last 9 or 10 climbers, and you cannot afford a mistake in this round. Unless you're in the position of Bassa or, for instance, YuFei Pan, where you have a 1 next to your name, any multiplication on the score here is going to hurt.
Yeah, I think that's the thing that we learned in Hachioji, is because the scores aren't added, they're multiplied. You move down 2-3 ranking points, and you go from on the edge of the final to nowhere near.
Exactly. It can literally add hundreds to your score, and then you're just on the outside looking in.
Nikolai done traverse up and right. As I say, 70 ranking points as it stands after 5th in the speed, 14th in the boulder.
Yeah, he hasn't found the body position going into the roof that a lot of them had. A lot of them got a knee bar in just in the move before there, and he went right through there really fast. So hopefully that doesn't hurt him. Hopefully he's got the stamina. Where his left hand is now, there's actually a knee bar position where they can get their left foot on, get their knee up. It's quite a long knee bar, but it definitely does give him something back, and he's gone straight through it, really climbing quite quickly.
And he just put his left hand on that dish that Jongwon Chon had, but quite sensibly, I think, just bumped straight through it while his feet were still solid.
Yeah, he was very dynamic through that move. Not in saying he was doing a dyno, but he never lost his momentum. He just pop, pop. This is the critical sequence here. Really,
just short of hold 43, so it's going to be a 42 plus for Nikolai. Just look at the scores so far. Depending on time, he'll either be 6th or 7th, I believe.
Wow, of course that's going to slide down once you get some of the big guns. But right now,
he's got a nervous afternoon ahead, a
he's
nervous
got
hour
a
ahead of him.
Very nervous hour. Really curious to see how it goes. Once I leave the commentary booth, I'm obviously going to head back up and keep shooting, but anyone looking at the photos after, you're probably going to see a lot of crowd shots, a lot of athlete shots, because I really get the feeling we're going to know today who makes the cut. With the 4 Japanese athletes in, that really means that if you're one of the other 6 to go in, you're going to be in the right position to make Olympic qualification straight off the bat. So it's an interesting scenario because effectively you're competing for your Olympic position on the Thursday, or potentially, and Saturday for them will just effectively be about Olympic seeding position. Once they're in finals, that of course decides where they rank in the seeding. So,
which is an almost unique situation, because I mean in Hachioji we had that situation where people knew that they'd done enough for the Olympics, but there was still a World Championship on the line.
Absolutely.
Here, I know there's Olympics, but there's much less on the line in a way.
No, and this is where I feel that we're going to have so much emotion today. There's going to be obviously relief, despondency. Some people will be a little bit in shock. It'll be like they haven't really absorbed it yet. I've definitely spoken to a couple of athletes after they came off the lead route. They're looking a little bit shell-shocked. Others are looking pretty chuffed. It's just going to come down to when it all sinks in and hits them.
And I think what's so dramatic about this format is that it all happens so quickly.
It's an incredibly fast comp.
Yeah, and suddenly it seems you just go, oh, we know who's going to the Olympics. Oh wow! And it comes down to the last climber.
Absolutely, and it's such a random thing because obviously we've had combined events before with the IFSC, but they've always been at the end of a major event. So you had Innsbruck Youth World Champs, we had the combined, just a final, but at the end of Youth Worlds. And then in Hachioji we had the whole combined, but after so many days of competition. Here they're all coming into it fresh. They're all coming into it full of energy, trained up specifically for this, and then bang, it's just gone. It's just over in a heartbeat.
Sporting drama at its best, and Ray Sugimoto, the latest to play his part in it.
Ray, definitely one of the old school Japanese climbers. He's been around quite a few years now. When I look back in the historic photos, I always see Ray, and I remember he hurt his shoulder really badly, looked like he was never going to be able to compete again, maybe even never climb again. And he was able to come back from that, and this season has been superb, which is incredible when you think he must be late 20s now, I'm guessing, off the top of my head.
Yeah.
And yet he's come back from what for many people would be a career-ending injury, and right up there.
Yeah, 2 Boulder World Cup wins as well. Let's not forget Vale in 2018.
I won't forget that one in a hurry. That was
I don't think anyone will.
Yeah. I love these guys when they're crowd pleasers, when they're so emotional, so engaged, and they win a comp, and it radiates out of them. It's just so much energy radiating out. And so when someone like Ray Sugimoto, obviously Yene, when he's won a couple of Boulder World Cups now, you never forget those ones because the energy is just, I don't mean to sound like some hippie talking about energy, but it's, he's gone left hand, okay, he's gone straight through. So he didn't use that first hold over the lip at all. He's
just bumped it.
Bumped through.
Yeah.
Which I was curious to see because obviously being one of the Japanese athletes and reading it with Keita Dohi, I wasn't sure if he was going to fall into the same trap. But clearly he got there feeling strong and just went straight through.
So here goes Ray heading up, that's 42, heading up. I think
he's in trouble.
Getting very tired as he heads up towards 43. He managed to get a hand on it, but he definitely didn't control it. It'll be a 42 plus for Ray.
I tell you what, the timekeeper's going to be a busy person this afternoon.
Well, he is, isn't he?
And so much to play for. They're going to be really having to make sure that the times are dead accurate. I'm sure there'll be some appeals, some reviews. Obviously, all the federations, all the teams that are here, they record all the climbs as well, and they'll be time stamping to see exactly how long their climber takes, and then they look at the results, and if they don't agree with it, they'll be up the front talking to the technical delegate and the head judge like a shot to get any corrections made.
Yeah, there's rather a lot riding on today's action, that's for sure. Ray Sugimoto waves to the crowd. He gave that one everything he had. It seemed that when the pump came, it came pretty hard.
He looked great below the lip.
Yeah.
I actually thought he was going to be fine into that section, but as soon as I feel that second cheetah volcano the one out on the left is maybe not as good as they expect. They get there and they have to really fire to get to that first hold on the red volume on the right-hand side of it. And yeah. All right, I'm going to leave you to it, good sir.
Yeah, all right. Thanks a lot for your time, Ed, and sorry to distract you from your work. But always good to hear your thoughts.
I'm happy to be here. I was able to keep shooting through the whole thing, so it's no problem for me, but time to change the angles up, I feel.
All right, thanks, Ed.
Cheers.
So Manuel Cornu comes out. Haven't heard of Vuvuzela yet, but it's surely only a matter of time. Not gone well for Manuel Cornu today, to put it mildly. 16th in the speed, not great. And then the boulder, remember he's a Boulder World Cup winner, he ended up 18th, and in the lead, he is almost certainly going to end up 22nd. Manuel Cornu, here in his home country, has just had a day to forget. Remember, of course, there's the European Championships for him in March of next year, but the problem he's got is that Bassa Mawem is almost certain to take the remaining French slot. And by the time that European Championship rolls around next year, maybe nothing left to gun for Manuel Cornu. He would have come here to Toulouse with such high hopes, but he was reliant on everything going absolutely perfectly. There's only one French slot left because Meichi Mawem qualified for the Olympics in the World Championships in Hachioji earlier on this year. So there was one slot left. It was really between Manuel Cornu and Bassa Mawem. And nothing has gone right for Manuel Cornu today. And that basically just sums up Toulouse for Manu. It has not gone well at all. Who knows, but he'll almost certainly be last and 22nd. Meichi Narasaki out next.
Derrière Manu Cornu, lui, il a fait des finales des podiums bloc diff. Son grand frère est qualifié. Representing Japan, Meichi Narasaki.
So Meichi Narasaki, the second to last Japanese climber out, Kakeru Fuji, will climb 21st. And Meichi underway. That is such a shame for Manuel Cornu. Remember, of course, that also affects the score of Bassa Mawem, that fall for Manuel Cornu. It means Bassa moves up. The worst he can do now is 20th. Things just seem to be getting better and better for Manuel Cornu. And in stark contrast, things just couldn't get a lot worse for Manuel Cornu. His shot is gone, and that remaining French slot could have gone as well. In fact, almost certainly will have gone.
Lui, on pense au Mawem, bah eux c'est le même délire. Qu'est-ce qu'il doit croiser les doigts pour rejoindre son frère avec les histoires.
Let's focus for now on Meichi Narasaki. He's double youth world champion in years past in boulder and lead, so he's got real calibre. And Manuel Cornu just walked past the commentary box looking like a man that slipped off at the second quick draw. Not happy at all.
Ça peut être fulgurant pour lui, il aura moins de problèmes que les autres à aller chercher ce côté droit.
Pour l'instant, beaucoup de relâchement.
Faut-il encore y arriver? Ouais, il est bien là.
.410 left for Meichi Narasaki, climbing a little slower than some of the climbers, but no one's still been anywhere near troubling the timekeepers. Up to hole 33, the distinctive baguette. Kukoro. Excuse me, Meichi. Meichi's brother Tomoa already booked his slot at the Olympics. 3:20 left and only 6 climbers to go after Meichi Narasaki. Oh, and he falls around the same area as Jongwon Chon, just trying to navigate his way leftwards across the lip. And Meichi Narasaki, who'd had a good day so far, 3rd in the boulder and 9th in the speed, has not had a good time on the lead wall, and that could affect so many people. Because he was anything resembling a good result would probably have put him in the final. And he just got himself tangled up in knots, got his foot caught on the rope, a distraction just when he didn't need it. It looked like he missed the volcano as well slightly, had the correct hand in it. So Meichi Narasaki, as I say, was as close to nailed on for a place in the final as you can get, and now far from it. 39 for him, that leaves him in 12th place, might end up as low down as 18th. I think that will actually still be enough for him, but he could have nailed on his place with a good performance on the lead wall, but he doesn't get one. This man might get one though, Sascha Lehmann. Sadly, I suspect, unless he can have a truly amazing result, unless he can top the route and do so quickly, it's probably not going to be enough. He ended up with 18th in the speed and 19th in boulder. But he won a World Cup this year. He's an incredibly strong climber. And you can imagine his mindset will be that he just has to give this route everything he's got and see where he ends up.
C'est tous ces gars-là qui ont ouvert le chemin. Et franchement, la victoire de Sascha en Suisse, c'était pas un hold-up du tout. Il a juste
take his time through this lower section.
Il y avait tous les meilleurs grimpeurs à part Adam, et sinon tout le monde était là. Alors ça a été bizarre parce que c'était pas le
time being so crucial. I want to try and get a move on. It's always a tricky balance though, because every climber's got their kind of natural cadence, the speed they like to move at. And if you break out of that, you could actually fail at your first job, which is getting the moves done. You're relieved, I'm sure, to have done that slightly risky move.
Oui, mais c'est ce qui est bien avec l'escalade, c'est qu'il y a tous les gabarits existent. On a le numéro 1 mondial Jongwon Narasaki qui fait 1m70, et puis on a Ondra qui fait 1m85. Voilà. Après, il faut s'adapter et puis il faut faire avec son gabarit. Ça nous donne des forces, ça nous donne des faiblesses, il faut les chercher.
Et on avait Ramon qui faisait 1m52 et de l'autre côté, Patrick était plus grand, et ça ne va pas empêcher d'aller chercher, il suffit juste d'adapter, de grimper. Allez, Sascha,
already 2 minutes elapsed. Finds himself at the bottom of the big traverse outright. Need to speed up slightly. As I say, needs a massive result in the lead. And part of the way you can get that is by climbing quickly.
allez, Sascha. Remember, Villars-sur-Hollande. Et ils ont une équipe de jeunes, de gamins en Suisse quand ils vont grandir, ça va faire mal.
Should have enough time actually, Sascha. As I say, just time being so vital in the rankings if climbers are tied that it's in your interest to go as quickly as you can. He's still got half his time remaining, slightly more, so he's not going to get timed out on the route unless something extraordinary happens, if he really stalls out. but he may lose ranking places if he doesn't climb quick enough and gets the same score as someone else, but gets there slower than they did. Taking a long rest under here, sets off with 2:40 left on the clock. Now he needs to read this sequence correctly. We saw Jongwon Chon and Meichi Narasaki both somewhat fluff their lines here. That's nice, goes up to the dish and then just bumps through it. Get the clip done, then the hard cross-through move with the right hand. Sascha Lehmann looking super strong on that boulder problem that Eddie mentioned. Now get himself in position for what is looking to be the crux of this route. He's got enough energy to chalk up, and then he's going to have to launch himself and go almost certainly with the left hand up to that red hole right at the top of your screen. There he goes, and he makes it work. Sascha Lehmann is going to top the route, but his slow climbing speed might count against him in the standings. Let's see. He finds a top. He's done all he can do. Round 1:23, the clock stops. I think it actually topped the route a couple of seconds before that. Either way, it's for the judges and the IFSC officials to figure out exactly how long he did take on the route, but he finds the third top.
And we have a before World Cup and after victory. Now he's strong.
Sascha Lehmann, I think, probably well aware the route's been topped a couple of times and well aware that things didn't go to plan for him earlier on today, and therefore, even with that top, he may not have done enough. So yeah, he's actually been the slowest of the three climbers to top the route, so therefore he's in third at best, and therefore I'm afraid we'll miss out almost certainly on the final after 18th and 19th in the other two disciplines. Needed a 1 next to his name, and as soon as you could see that he was not climbing that quickly on the route, which, as I say, is his style, and you've got to climb with your style, but it's cost him. As soon as he was climbing relatively slowly, you knew that even a top was unlikely to be enough, and as it is, he moves down into third.
Molly, malheureusement, c'est terminé. Il reste William Bosi, c'était le seul et unique grimpeur dans le protocole de Grande-Bretagne olympique. Et William Bosi, depuis 2 ans, il est surprenant. Il a une très très belle grimpe, Bosi. Vous allez voir un peu sa manière de grimper. Et ne lâchez pas, s'il vous plaît.
So Will Bosi now, who's had a fantastic day here in Toulouse. 12th in the speed and then 9th in the boulder, but they looked really good on the boulders. He wasn't far off. 4 tops would have put him in first place, but as it is, he ended up with 3 tops, 4 zones, 9th place. And with his favourite discipline of lead still to come, been training hard on the lead wall, really focusing on the lead. As Eddie and I were saying when Eddie joined me in the commentary box earlier, one thing you need to do in this combined format is absolutely knock it out of the park on your favourite discipline. This is Will Bosi's favourite discipline, and a top, and if at all possible, a quick top would sort him out in the rankings and likely book his place in the final. Got the slightly risky jump move done. You saw him just puff his cheeks.
Dans le décor complet de la difficulté.
Ah oui, un des meilleurs distributeur du monde. Il est placé, mais il va falloir quand même aller très très haut pour essayer de se qualifier pour la finale.
Il faut les toper.
Oui, quasiment.
Bon, on laisse tranquillement rentrer dans la voie. Dès qu'il arrive dans les difficultés, on compte sur vous.
So keep an eye on the time. Things are getting pretty close. And by the way, if you keep an eye on the scores, Alberto Ginés López and Stefano Ghisolfi are still tied on score. Sascha Lehmann, who also found a top, is currently in third place. I've been told that the times are very, very tight between Stefano and Alberto. So the IFSC officials have got their work cut out to separate them and figure out exactly who is in first place. Things could not get much more tense here in Toulouse. Will Bosi doing all he can do on the wall.
Beaucoup de salles alors lui, il a du bol au niveau musical. Radio Gaga et Saint-Parti Force de Ville. Ça, tu mets ça à Iarilovets, elle saute du mur. Allez, comment.
So Will actually chooses to go to the dish, and that's not really the best way of doing the move. Luckily, he's got the horsepower to rescue himself from a slight mistake, but that will have cost him, no doubt about it, and he needs a big result here, Will Bosi. Came in with 108 ranking points, 9th multiplied by 12 from the two earlier disciplines. Definitely getting pumped, but what's he got for these boulder problems section on the head wall? He's got a real scrap on his hands, but he's got to bump his way up that volume. And then there is something of a respite, but he can't get there, and he looks really frustrated with that one, Will Bosi. It'll be a 44 plus perhaps. Could move him up to 6th, but he's going to join the club of climbers who have got a very nervous weight on their hands. Yeah, he made that slight route reading mistake, just pulling over the lip when he went for that dish with the left hand. It seemed to cost him. The pump really kicked in quickly.
C'est une journée de stress, hein, cette qualification. Faut aussi compter là-dessus, c'est le 3e facteur. Round applause for William Bosi. He's sad, for sure. Mais on ne connaît pas les résultats. Le prochain, on sait qu'il sait serrer les dents, il sait tout envoyer. C'est un bloqueur, mais qui peut nous surprendre, qui est bien arrivé à grimper dans les tours.
Oui, il a gagné le championnat d'Allemagne de difficulté il y a quelques semaines, donc il est en forme.
Peut-être sans Mégos ou Mégos c'était là?
Non, sans Mégos.
Voilà, sans Mégos.
Mais bon, malgré tout, c'est quand même révélateur qu'il s'est entraîné dans cette discipline.
Carrément.
Et après, voilà, c'est pas une voie qui est extrême, hein, mais bon, pour un grand bloqueur,
il est grand, on dit. Okay,
so Jan Hoyer, the next climber out, 3rd in the speed, and 13th in the boulder.
Is the German champion in lead.
Might be a bit frustrated with that boulder result, Jan. 3rd in the speed was just dreamland, set a personal best, the first time under 6.5 seconds. And then in the boulder, he's pretty close, but just missed out on a top on number 1. It's a final move he couldn't do, and that would really have changed everything for him.
13e du bloc, et il était 3e en vitesse ce matin. Yannick derrière les deux spécialistes.
Launches now into the Kruder volume, as we're calling it, and up relatively steady lower section of the route.
Et 3e place en vitesse pour un grimpeur comme Hoyer, c'est quand même c'est ce qu'il faut faire au JO. Ah, c'est ce qu'il est capable de faire un mec comme Manu ou autre quand tout va bien. Ou un gars comme Mika. Alors lui aussi, il va prendre des risques, il va aller vite. Hein. Bon, et j'espère que le public vous serez régalé hein, sur cette journée. Alors rappelez-vous quand même que samedi pour les garçons, ça va être stress mode 3 fois plus. Parce que sur les 6, les 8 qui seront en finale, il y en a 2 qui passeront pas.
Jan absolutely rocketing up the route. Apologies, I disappeared there for a second. Just talking to one of our officials. Apparently things between Alberto Ginés López and Stefano Ghisolfi are incredibly tight, and they need to watch a video replay to try and separate them to a 1/10 of a second. So the results we show you at the end and when we go off air here in Toulouse may not actually be the final results. They may not have been separated. We don't know how long that process is going to take. For now, though, we'll focus on Jan Hoyer because he's really getting into the business end of this route. Bumps up there to the second volcano. We'll talk more about time in a second. Jan Hoyer is absolutely flying up this route. It's taken him 2 minutes and he's established on the boulder problem on the head wall. Had an awkward clip there, the quick draw just hanging down by his left knee. That's him up to 45 and he will not progress further, but that's a good performance from Jan Hoyer. Didn't waste any time getting up there. By my maths, that'll have him in 6th place. And I think that will be enough for a place in the final, of course, yet to be decided. Yeah, that was Jan on 45. I think he'll be awarded that by the judges. Yeah, sorry, Jan, I think just being told it's pretty tight, mate. Well, there must be quite a cluster of climbers in the nervously waiting category. Very few of them will be confident that they have already done enough. YuFei Pan, one of them. Alberto Ginés López, probably one of them. Nathaniel Coleman, again, will be reasonably happy. YuFei Pan, of course, haven't even climbed, but more or less whatever he can get will be a good result.
YuFei Pan after the bouldering competition, he's the best athlete in first position.
Doesn't really matter for YuFei Pan, he's going to qualify for the final, but for everyone else it's getting pretty tense. And as I say, right at the top, two people that needed a massive result, Stefano Ghisolfi and Alberto Ginés López, are so close on time that they can't be separated, and the IFSC officials are going to have to watch a video to separate them. That could then have knock-on effects for other people's score. Every time with these combined competitions we seem to get some massive drama right at the end. YuFei Pan, one of the few climbers that doesn't have much drama to worry about. If he only needs to get to the third quick draw and he'll already be ahead of Manuel Cornu. Yeah, he's one of the few climbers without much stress here. First in the boulder, 7th in the speed, gave him a combined points total of 7. And even if you multiply that by, well, it'll now be 21 because he's ahead of Cornu, it's still comfortably enough to make it through to the final. So YuFei Pan, who we're currently watching on the screen, as I say, about the only climber, one of a very small number of climbers who will not be pretty stressed right now. And the stress, sadly, for those experiencing it, is unlikely to end when the last climber, Adam Ondra, has been out, because there is so little separating Alberto Ginés López and Stefano Ghisolfi, currently in joint first. And what they get will affect, or could affect, what other people get. So we shall see. As ever in a combined competition, all seems to culminate rather quickly.
Et derrière lui, il en restera 2. Kakeru Fuji et Adam Ondra. Et ça sera terminé pour cette sublimissime première journée. On a flippé ce matin.
Just to let you know, by the way, if they can't be separated, if they really did to the nearest 10th of a second get the same time on the route, Alberto and Stefano, they would both get 1.5, so they would both be in joint first place, and they'd get 1.5 as their score.
Alors demain, vous aurez celle qui a révolutionné la vitesse, elle sera là.
Always seems to be the way that things get tense right at the end. There's always some confusion. You might remember in Hachioji we had technical appeals about people standing on bolts, and Olympic places were riding on it. As I say, the man we're watching right now is about one of maybe 2, maybe 3 climbers who won't be stressed about all this right now.
China, no stress. Et oui,
just been a dream day for Team China. It just couldn't have gone any better for YuFei Pan. He was happy with 7th in the speed. Scarcely believe he got first in the boulder. What can he do here on the lead wall? The Chinese team have been talking him up for so long, and at times he's flattered to deceive. He's come close to big results and picked up a podium and then disappeared again somewhat. But if this was all part of a plan, they got it absolutely perfect, because he's peaked at exactly the right moment. And just fell at the top of the boulder problem. It's a strong performance from him. I mean, there was more or less nothing riding on it in terms of qualification for the final 8. But YuFei Pan still put in a massive performance, and was just around that whole 45. Let's see whether we think he controlled it. Will he be awarded it by the judges? Oh yeah, he'll get 45 for that, but I don't think it'll be a 45 plus. There was no attempt at the next move, so almost certainly a 45 for YuFei Pan. We'll move him up into 6th place. By the time the remaining 2 climbers have come, that might end up being 8th. So the worst he can end up with today is a 1st, a 7th and an 8th. That is a fantastic day. And it's pretty unlikely that he's not going to finish the day in 1st, although I'm not prepared to do the maths right now. Kakeru Fuji, the next climber is still to come, and then it would just be Adam Ondra, the small matter of Adam Ondra, world champion in lead. Season champion from the lead World Cups, Adam Ondra. That Adam Ondra will be the last climber out. So Kakeru comes out now. Yeah, YuFei Pan, as it stands, 7th in speed, 1st in boulder and 6th in lead. As I say, even if that ends up as 8th, which it might well do after Kakeru and Adam have climbed, either way, he's into the final. Kakeru Fuji, meanwhile, who hasn't been too far behind YuFei Pan at all. He was 8th in the speed and 4th in the boulder, so he's looking pretty handy. Just so you know, as the drama begins to unfold, as we try in real time to understand numbers that are constantly changing and evolving and being appealed against and being studied on video replays by the judges, but as it stands right now, Stefano Ghisolfi, 21st in the speed, 16th in the boulder. Now, if he can get a 1 next to his name in the lead, it's a big if, of course. We've still got Kakeru to finish his attempt. We've still got Adam Ondra to come, so even if he is judged to have climbed quicker than Alberto Ginés López, there's no guarantee Stefano would get a 1 next to his name. But if he did, I think that would leave him in the top 8, and if he doesn't have a 1 next to his name, he is not in the top 8. So there are other factors, but everything could be riding on whether he was a 1/10 of a second quicker on the lead route than Alberto Ginés López.
Et des extraterrestres, Adam Ondra est quand même un extraterrestre, comme Yannick Flohe, un rare grimpeur arrive à leur niveau, et eux seront de grands champions. Est-ce que les Japonais, toi qui les connais quand même pas mal, Nico,
so Kakeru at the bottom of the traverse outright had a really strong day. We'll just have to see where this attempt leaves him in terms of ranking points, what Adam Ondra can do on the wall. But as I say, for Stefano Ghisolfi, if Kakeru Fuji cannot find a top here, and if Adam Ondra cannot find a top, Stefano's place in the final and very likely his participation in the Olympics could come down to whether he or Alberto Ginés López were a 1/10 of a second quicker on one lead route here in the south of France at the end of an 8-month season for the IFSC. It is quite breathtaking how often it goes right down to the wire. every one of these combined competitions we've had has ended in high drama at the end of the qualification days, let alone at the end of the final days. And this one would appear to be no different. If you are just tuning in, welcome to Toulouse. We are just north of the Pyrenees Mountains, the Olympic selection event. Charlie Bosco here, watching on in a very tense climbing wall here in this beautiful Pyrenean city. It is tension all round. There's a cluster of climbers over by the foot of the wall, can barely look. The ranking of one person can affect the ranking of everyone else, so until Adam Ondra's finished on the wall, nobody knows what their scores are, and with the judges still looking at Alberto Ginés López and Stefano Ghisolfi, they might not even know when Adam Ondra's finished. Kakeru Fuji really having to fight there, and he was just heading up towards hole 42. Judges, I don't think will award it to him. 41 plus. I think could he claim he ever had control over hole 42? Let's have another look at it. It's the hole he goes up to with the right hand here, that little one above and right of his left hand. Always looks a bit different in slow motion. In slow motion, he looked like he had possibly had control of it anyway. Could be a judge, not me. But it'll be a 41 plus or a 42. For Kakeru Fuji, 41 plus. Yeah, as I say, in slow motion it looked like he had control of it, but the judgment is made in real time. In real time, have control of it. So, the final climber out, the last action of the day is Adam Ondra. He is unbeaten in a league competition this year. He won all 3 Lead World Cups he entered. He won the Lead World Championship and he won the European Lead Championship. You could argue that this route is more important than any of them because this could potentially send him to the Olympics. Adam Ondra is 14th in the speed, he was 2nd in the boulder. He doesn't need a top here, in fact he doesn't need to be anywhere near the top.
Il a résisté quand même à cet olympisme et à cette voie de vitesse parce qu'à Bercy, il n'avait pas fait le combiné, il ne voulait pas toucher le mur. Même il y a comme Kruder qui est un de ses très très bons potes, ils font beaucoup de tripes ensemble. Je ne pensais pas qu'il allait...
Ouais, voilà, il n'est pas très branché vitesse, hein, clairement. Et donc après, il faut faire le combiné sur 2 disciplines, ça laisse pas trop le droit à l'erreur. C'est pas facile à gérer.
Yeah, even if he was 21st, Adam Ondra, which is potentially going to confirm he's not 21st pretty soon. Alfie Muhammad ended up at hold 19, which Adam hasn't actually reached just yet, but even if he's 21st, it would be 10th for Adam, so he needs to get a little bit further on, but not too much further. So he doesn't need a massive result here, Adam. Just finish middle of the pack, and that'll be enough. But this is Adam Ondra we're talking about. Just to let you know, in 19th, I mean, it sounds ridiculous to talk about Adam Ondra coming 19th in a league competition, but foot slips happen, things do happen. Nothing guaranteed. 25 plus was Bassa Mawem's score. So Adam has moved ahead of Bassa Mawem. That means he's going to be at least 19th.
Il était deuxième à l'issue du bloc, 14e en vitesse. Il a vraiment limité les dégâts ce matin.
Oui, il a battu son record en plus, donc je pense qu'il va être très content.
Et au dernier run.
Il est pas loin de la barre des 7 secondes, donc ça commence à être sérieux.
Allez, tournefeuille pour Adam Ondra.
Tournefeuille, this suburb of Toulouse, being asked to get behind Adam Ondra. Reads it absolutely perfectly. He does climb quickly, Adam, so if he tops the route, you'd imagine he'd be in first place, but we need to keep an eye on the clock. Still, Alberto Ginés López and Stefano Ghisolfi not separated. Adam, I think, has booked his place in the final. He's almost certainly booked his place in the Olympics. Stefano Ghisolfi, I think, has just moved out of the top 8 as it stands. Remember, we want the top 8 for the final here in Toulouse, but it's only the top 6 who go through to the Olympics. But because of the 2 climbers per country rule, it might be that everyone in the final who is not Japanese makes it to the Olympics. We'll see. First things first, can Adam Ondra latch this move? He'll go almost certainly with his left hand. He can latch the move, and he's going to get the quick draw clip without even touching the top hold. Stops the clock at 2:52, and I think Adam Ondra was the quickest of the 4 climbers to find the top, but we'll wait for the judges to confirm. If we've learned anything in the last hour, it's to not assume anything. They still haven't figured out whether Alberto Ginés López was quicker than Stefano Ghisolfi. So let's just check as the results come through. Yes, Adam Ondra was the quickest. He moves into first place, and that means that he finishes today's qualifying in first place as well. So there is negotiations underway. I'll be with you in just a second.
And after bouldering in the lead, congratulations everybody for this day. Congratulations the volunteers, the organizer, the French Federation, the International Federation. See you tomorrow. Have a good night.
Well, there we can see it as it stands. Once again, one of the IFSC officials just been over to talk to me. Adam Ondra is in the top. Adam Ondra finds the top, excuse me. Adam Ondra is through to the final, and then Stefano Ghisolfi, Alberto Ginés López cannot be separated just yet. They're currently in joint second. Sascha Lehmann also found the top. He'll definitely be in fourth. He was the slowest of the 4 to find the top, and then Sean Bailey, Yannick Flohe, YuFei Pan, Jan Hoyer, Will Bosi, and Alexi Rubsov. The remainder of the top 10 on the lead wall. Now this couldn't be much more tense, because as it stands, please bear in mind the first part of that sentence. As it stands, Meichi Narasaki and Kakeru Fuji, 2 Japanese climbers, would be in the final. Japan have already filled their Olympic quota, which means that everybody else in the final who is not Japanese would receive an Olympic invitation. Here's how it stands right now. As I say, as it stands, Adam Ondra, YuFei Pan, Alberto Ginés López, Jan Hoyer, Bassa Mawem, Kakeru Fuji, Nathaniel Coleman, and Meichi Narasaki will be in the final, and all of those climbers, with the exception of Kakeru Fuji and Meichi Narasaki, so Adam Ondra, YuFei Pan, Alberto Ginés López, Jan Hoyer, Bassa Mawem, and Nathaniel Coleman, those 6 climbers will be going to the Olympics as it stands. However, things could change. Alberto Ginés López's score could change, and Stefano Ghisolfi, who's currently showing up in 12th place, could also change. Actually, Stefano, by my calculations, Stefano Ghisolfi can't make it into the top 8, because look at there, his lead rank is currently showing up as 2. It might end up being 3, so things could only get worse. Stefano's rank can't get better, so by my reckoning, he has missed out on the final 8 and therefore a place in the Olympics. Alberto Ginés López, meanwhile, currently has a 2 next to his name. That could end up being a 3. If he does end up with a 3 next to his name, that would give him 3.63, and I think he'd still be in anyway, so he'd still make it through to the final. Meichi Narasaki would still be in 8th. That would still mean there were 2 Japanese climbers in the final. It would still mean that everybody who makes the final and isn't Japanese would get an Olympic ticket. But appeals are ongoing, and I've been told that the IFSC officials require some of our footage from the live stream, which means we have to end the live stream, sadly, without a decision on Alberto and Stefano, because they require our broadcast truck to study some of the footage. But as I say, by my reckoning, as it stands, Alberto Ginés López is into the final, regardless of what the judges conclude. Stefano Ghisolfi is not in the final, regardless of what the judges conclude. And everybody in the final who is not Japanese has booked their ticket to the Olympics. Please do check the IFSC website and social media channels to find out more and to stay up to date and find out what the judges decide. But that's all from me today. We will be back tomorrow morning if we can all somehow summon the emotional energy for the women's qualifiers. And let's hope for everybody's heart rate things go a little bit smoother. What a day here in Toulouse. I'll see you tomorrow morning.